Hey there, it's Mr. Thompson with a video maths lesson. And as you can see, we are talking about linear relations problems and using the CAS calculator to solve those linear relations problems. So just a bit of a preview, things like simplifying expressions, solving equations, sketching graphs of linear relations, so line straight lines with the kinds of equations you see here, and then finding the equations of given lines, gradient or finding the equation. So let's get started. And we are going to, like I said, be using the CAS calculator for this. So if we're on the home screen, we can press the number 1 for a new document. If you have a previous one, you might want to save it or not. And we can go 1 for add calculator, okay, which is what we're going to be doing for most of this until we get to sketching graphs. So simplifying expressions is one of the most straightforward things to do on the CAS calculator. We literally just want to plug this equation that we can see in the problem. So this equation right here, 8xy plus 5x minus 3xy plus x. So we're just going to plug that straight into our calculator. Okay, so we start with the 8 and then the x. And now, it'd be tempting to type it in exactly how it is in the problem, but the CAS calculator considers, when you type letters together, it considers those a single variable. The x and y become connected together. We don't want that. So we actually want to, I'm going to back up, and I'm going to do the times symbol. So one thing I tell my students is, if a times symbol can go there, just put it in there. You're not going to go wrong. So going by that, we should do 8 times x times y. It's just one more button, and we know that nothing's going to get combined or put together. The x and the y we really want to make sure are considered separate variables. So you don't have to do the times between the 8 and the x, but it's not hurting anything, like I said. All right, so we're going to keep going. Plus 5, I can just do 5x, or 5 times x is even safer. Minus, and here's where we need to do 3, and I'm just going to put times x times y plus x. Okay, and I enter that into the calculator. Just hit enter, and it gives me this answer: x times the quantity 5 times y, so 5y plus 6. Now, one thing you might do when you're doing these problems is check the answers in the back of the book. And in the back of the book that I'm using, where I got this problem, it says this 5xy plus 6x, which is quite a bit different to what I've got on the calculator over there, that whole x, 5y plus 6, but there's some similarities, and maybe this is correct. So there's a few things we can do to test, to check whether this is correct or not. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to notice that the answer the calculator gave me was a not factorized. It's a combined answer. So I can actually factorize this expression, which is one of the important things we need to know how to do anyway. So I'm going to go to Menu, and I know factorize is an algebra thing, so I'm going to do 3 for algebra, and there's factor number 2, so I'm going to hit 2. And then I want to factorize my answer from the previous problem. So I hit Control, and then answer is up here above this negative sign. So I hit the negative, and it factorizes that. And it didn't really do anything for me. Oh, sorry, I don't want to factor. I want to expand. So I'm going to go Menu, 3. It's a factored, and I want it expanded. So I'm going to go 3 for expand. Now I'm going to, that's fine. I'll just do my answer again. Okay, there we go. So now it's got 5xy plus 6 times x. You notice it puts those dots in there for timeses, but just like we know that entering it in, we put those extra times. The calculator just likes those extra times symbols. So it's got those in there, but it does match what's in the back of the book. Another way to test whether the answer on your calculator is the same as what's in the back of the book is we can take what's in the back of the book. So for example, 5 times x times y plus 6 times x, and we can ask our calculator, is that equal to that thing we got up here at the start? So that would be x and then times and then brackets 5 times y plus 6 in brackets. And we can hit enter, and we put that equals in, and if those are equal, then it will say true, like it does. So if the thing the calculator gave me is equal to the thing that's in the back of the book, then I'm in good shape. So my answer for this is, of course, just what's in the back of the book. Nope. Lunchtime. Okay, so moving on. We're going to look at solving these equations. So the CAS calculator is fantastic for solving. So there's a function where we can just hit menu. And once again, we're going to do algebra, so 3. And I'm going to hit the number 1. Now you'll notice I'm not using the direction buttons on my calculator. I'm using the numbers, and it's much more efficient to use the numbers. So get in the habit. These numbers that are in the calculator next to the commands, next to the menu options, use those. So I hit menu, let's go back, algebra, and then I'm going to hit the number 1 for solve. It's literally in the instructions, solve. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use the solve tool, and we just have to type now in the equation. So 3 minus 2, if you want to do the times, x, and say that is equal to 9. Now, we can't just hit enter yet. We have to tell the calculator what we're solving for. So we're going to hit comma, and then we want to, when we're solving this, we want to solve it for x, so we want to know what x is. So we put x in, hit enter, and it tells us that x equals negative 3. Okay? Now, you can test that by saying, well, if I do 3 take away 2 times negative 3, does that equal 9? And the answer is yes, it does. That tells me that this is correct, right? Okay, let's look at a more complex one. This 2x minus 1 over 3 and so forth. We're going to do the same thing, menu, 3, 1 for solve. And we're going to use fractions. So the fraction button is this one right here next to the 9. And we're just going to use the first. You can hit enter. I think, yep, enter to get that. And then we're going to type this in. So 2, I'll put times x minus 1. And then I down button to get down to the bottom of the fraction, 3. Right button to get out of it, and then equals. Then we're going to do the fraction button again. Okay, and we're going to do x plus 2, get down to the bottom of the fraction, over 4. Okay, get out of that fraction because I still need to tell the calculator what I'm solving for, so I do comma x, okay, and it says x equals 2. Once again, you can take that 2 and plug it into the equation in the places where the x is, so 2 times 2 minus 1 over there. You can probably do this in your head if you want to check it, but x equals 2. Okay, you could do it on paper as well. You could do it like this. 2, my head's going to be in the way. 2 times 2 minus 1 over 3. Is that equal to 2 plus 2 over 4? And you can work out those calculations. 2 times 2 is 4 minus 1 is 3. So 3 over 3 is 1. And then 2 plus 2 is 4. So 4 over 4 is also 1. So that one works. That is confirmed. Okay, we've got a few where we are asked to sketch the graphs. Okay, the first two are going to be easy. The third one's going to be a little bit more work, so we'll get to that. But we're not going to do this in a calculator page. We're going to do this in a we're going to insert. So sorry, I'm doing the wrong thing. So yeah, menu to do this. So I do document, 4 for insert, and then 1. No, sorry, and then 4 for graphs. Okay. So that gives me a new graph, and I've opened a second graph page. That's fine. So I'm just gonna, we have here, it's a little bit funky. It says f1 of x. Now, the 1 means it's our first equation that we're gonna type in. We might have f2 of x later, and that's how we read this, f1 of x. And this f1 of x is kind of like the y of the equation that I've been given. So after that f1 of x, it says equals, so we're going to type in the rest of that equation. So we're going to type in on the calculator 3, and we can do times x minus 9. Okay, and I'm just going to hit enter, and it draws that graph in there. Okay, so my coordinate system here the way it is doesn't show the the y-intercept and things like that. I've got an x-intercept there, so that's good, and things like that. But you could just draw it the way it is if you need to draw it on your test paper or homework paper or something like that. But we can also use the view option, or let's see, menu. Here we go. Menu 4 to zoom. Menu 4. Oh gosh, what have I done? Let's escape that. Menu 4, and then you might just do zoom out. 4 for zoom out. Okay, center. We can click for where we want the center. You'll have to use the direction pad. We can zoom out, and then what we can do is menu trace. So 5 for trace, and just do graph trace. And you'll notice that oh, we can't see. Let's see. I need to fix my window here so that you can see more of my. There we go. Got a little bit smaller. Sorry about that. So it's telling me that the coordinates that it's gone to on the trace are 0 and 9. So I've got a y-intercept of -9, which if you know your equations, you can see that -9 gives you the y-intercept. So we can just, depending on how accurate you want to be here, you should probably use, let's do this. Let's do this properly. I'm going to add an xy. I'm going to add an xy axis. Okay. And I'm going to draw x and y, and I'm just going to put -9, and then I can look and just see that the other intercept is 3, the x-intercept is 3, and so I'm going to grab my ruler on my nice OneNote page here and draw, whoopsies, draw the line. Okay, there we go. Okay, so probably could have done that without the calculator, but this is how to use the calculator to look at what you want to look at and find the points and so on and so forth. The part B here, 5 minus 2x, we can add that. We don't want to do that. We want to go to menu, and we want to do 3 for graph entry. So 3, and we want to insert a function. So function, another function, so we're going to do 5, take away 2 times x, and hit enter, and that comes in as red. And again, we can trace that and draw it onto our paper however we want. Now, like I said, I'm not going to draw that as a demonstration, but so I'm sure you can work that out. Part H here, 3x plus 8y, is trickier because it's not in y equals format. It's got 3x plus 8y, so we can't put it in as a function. So what I'm going to do is go back to my calculator page that I had here, and I'm actually going to solve this. So menu 3, 1 for solving, and I'm going to plug in 3 times x plus 8 times y equals 24, and I want to solve it for y because I want to get it in y equals. So I'm going to hit comma y this time. Now I hit enter, and I get this new equation. It's this fraction, -3 times x minus 8. So I might actually write that down on my page. Okay, y equals -3 times x minus 8 all over 8. Okay, now I'm going to go back to one of my graphs, and you know what, I might actually use this blank graph that I have here. Okay, and I'm going to type that in. So I'm going to use the fraction button, click that center button, so I do -3 using the negative button, not the minus. Okay, turn my ruler off, get rid of that. Okay, -3 times brackets x minus 8 in brackets, and then go to the bottom of my fraction and put over 8. Okay, that is the equivalent function to the problem that was given. So I'm going to hit enter now, and it draws that for me. Once again, this time it's black. Once again, I can trace it. You can do all kinds of things to move the axes around. Feel free to play with the cursor and the zoom windows and things like that to figure that out. Okay, but either way, I can see I can trace. Tracing is always the easiest way to get the coordinates. So 0, 3, and I can move along, or I can make it guess. I can also move the function around, but it's a bit of a pain on the computer. So I can move that so I can see it better and zoom in and out and everything. But the important thing was I solved that equation for y and then put it in as a function. Okay. Now I want to be able to find the equation for a line. Okay, there's a few steps to that. So first I need to find the gradient, then I need to find the y-intercept. So I've got one nice set of coordinate points here for the problem. The other one just gives me the y-intercept. So of course the x-coordinate for that is 0. So the coordinates are 0 and 3. So first I need to find the gradient. To do that, I use my formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so I'm going to go back to a calculator page on my CAS calculator, and I'm just going to set up a fraction. And I'm going to take the y coordinate, I'll say the 5, and do 5, take away the y coordinate from the other one, the 3, and go to the bottom, and do 4, take away 0, which is 4. So we'll just do that, and that gives me 1/2. So the gradient equals 1/2. Okay. Now I know my equation is going to end up looking like y equals mx plus b, and I know m is 1/2. So now I just need to find the b. Oh, sorry if I was covering that 1/2 before. I need to find the b, and I don't know the b, right? But I do know x and y pairs that can go into this. So I'm going to use the 0, 3, because 0 is always easy. That's the y. So I'm going to replace that 0 with y, like that. And I'm going to replace the x with a 3, like so. The x becomes a 3. Now I'm going to make sure I put in a little time symbol in between those. Okay? And I want to find what b needs to be in order for this equation to work. And that will tell me the b for this equation. Now, those of you who are paying good attention probably know exactly what the answer is, because it's pretty easy. And now I'm just questioning whether I've done this right. 5, take away 3, 4, take away 0. Because I've put them the wrong way around, of course. Okay, those of you who are paying attention saw this coming a long time ago, because the x is actually 0, the x is 0, and the y is 3. Here we go. You can leave comments about how long that took me, and how that's a bit of a worry. The y is 3, and the x is 0. Thank you very much. Okay, now this is a really easy problem, hence why I all of a sudden realized I'd done something wrong. Because you can see that the y-intercept is 3. It's pretty simple. But I'm going to show you this so that you can use it on problems where it's maybe not so easy to see. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my calculator, and I'm going to do menu 3, 1 for solving, and I'm going to do plug in this equation I've just done. So 3 equals 1/2. If you want to use the fractions, you can, or you can use 0.5, times 0 plus b. We can use the exact same letters we got on our screen, on our paper, or whatever, comma b. So I'm solving for b, and I hit enter, and of course b comes out to be 3. Okay, because that's our y-intercept. We can see it pretty clearly. So b equals 3. Don't do that in red. Do that in green. b equals 3. So now I can write my full equation. Somewhere where my head's not going to block it, I'll put it up here. And y equals 1/2 x plus 3. And that's the answer to the equation for that line that's given. Okay? I'm going to do that again in this word problem that's coming up now. So if, if that wasn't as straightforward as you'd like, let's do it again. We'll see how this works. And this one's a little bit trickier. We're not going to see the y-intercept, so better make sure we do it right the first time. So the first thing we want is the gradient. So once again, we'll use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, and we'll do that in our calculator. So we'll make a fraction, and we will do the y2 minus y1, so 5 take away 8, over the 3 take away negative 2. 3 take away negative 2 in the calculator, and that equals negative 3/5. You can just leave it as a fraction. If you'd like to know how to convert to a decimal, it's just Control Enter, and that gives you the decimal, but I'm just going to leave it as negative 3/5, not 3/3, 3/5. Okay, so my equation is going to be y equals m times x plus b, and I know the m, it's negative 3/5. I want to know the b, I don't know it yet. So I'm going to pick an x and a y. I'll use 3 and 5 now. Okay, Mr. Thompson, so the 3 is x and the 5 is y. So put a little times in there, and I'll go to my calculator and solve this one. So menu 3, 1 for solve. Oops, that's not right. Menu 3, 1 for solve. And I'm going to do 5 equals, I'll put a little fraction. I could put negative 0.6, but negative 3 over 5, get out of the fraction, times 3 plus b, solve for b, enter. Okay, and we see here that b equals 34/5. Okay, and you know that one might be nicer as a decimal, 6.8. Sure, why not? Okay, so b equals 34/5 or 6.8. Okay, so now we have our m and our b, and we'll write the equation y equals negative 3/5 x plus 6.8. Okay, we can test that with the other coordinates. So we had negative 2 and 8. Oops, excuse me. Negative 2 and 8. So if I take negative 2 and I plug it into that, so if I do, let's see, negative 3/5 for a fraction, negative 3 over 5 times the x, so negative 2 from that other coordinate, negative 2, and oopsies, hold on, that's gone to the bottom of my fraction, so I need to get out of the fraction and do times negative 2, and then add my 6.8. I should be getting whatever the y coordinate is up here of 8. And we do, we get 8. So that tells me that this equation here, that confirms the work that I've done. All right, that's a bunch of problems. Hopefully this video is not too long, but anyway, and I made some stuff up, but whatever, it's going online. I'll see you next time.